Imagine prisoners that have spent their entire lives chained deep inside a cave. They have been chained so that they cannot see behind themselves, and they are forced to stare endlessly at the cave wall in front of them. Behind them, a fire is burning, and between the prisoners and the fire is a raised walkway. Now imagine that each day, a menagerie of objects crosses the walkway. Animals, and people carrying their wares to market. Their shapes create an intricate shadow play on the wall in front of the prisoners. This is the only world that the prisoners have ever known. The shadows and the echoes of unseen objects. Now, imagine that the prisoner is released. After some time adjusting to the blinding light, the freed prisoner will begin to experience the world outside of the cave for the very first time. And it is like nothing he could have ever imagined. With his new perception of the world, the man will of course want to return to his friends to share his incredible discoveries. But the prisoners cannot recognize their old friend. He appears as all things do. His voice is a distorted echo, and his body is a grotesque shadow. They cannot understand his fantastic stories of the world outside of the cave. To them, it will never exist. This, of course, does not make the world outside of the cave any less real.
Something behind shadow, so that it's not just set, but there's something inside, like behind it, like deeper inside, I guess. I don't know how to explain this.
It controls the reality that makes those people to go into the cave and become prisoners. And to relate to real life, are we the prisoners or people outside the cave?
Comfortable with our ideas and beliefs, and we'd like to think that we know it all. And when someone threatens that idea, then we just lash out violently.
Well, like for me, like as a table, we kind of think about what it really means, and we come up with several ideas, maybe about revolution or about the side of philosophers. And the question just come out with this, what he said, and what it really reminds me as a person is that about how Chinese and all like that table says is about word, but for me it's about period of time that's kind of peace, but that peace is kind of kept in like the way it's kept in the cave, where people kind of blind with what they really receive, and like China or North Korea, or maybe even country around the world where they say we are democracy, but they're not really taking the people's opinion and they're not really letting the people know what they really need to know and hiding the fact behind.
Okay.
I think that if somebody got out of the cave, they would have some more experience than the person that's in the cave. So no matter the outside told the cave people, they won't have any experience, or at least they cannot imagine things.
Basically, we have a limited amount of knowledge depending on like how our human existence works. Like we filter knowledge first of all because of our environments and because of our beliefs, like in religion and like our political beliefs as well. And also, depending on like your economic status and like more objective parts of your life, you're also like you alter the way that you see the world. And yeah.
I also thought that the shadows could possibly represent the media, how the media can take reality and just show you what they want to show you to make it a distorted reality.
Thank you.
That was knowledge starts with belief, and without it, it can't exist. This is because the two prisoners that didn't believe, the prisoner that got freed, were unable to acquire knowledge about the outside world, since at the initial point they didn't believe in the guy who saw the outside world for himself.
We too believe that we see belief in knowledge as like a Venn diagram, and where there's like some kind of clash or intersection. And we believe that because there's no knowledge without belief, or belief without knowledge. But we see belief as something which is more emotive, which like includes passion and emotion, and it can be very personal. And in terms of the story, because the notion of a prison is quite harsh, we believe that this is kind of like control, and how the government has control over us, and like the censorship between the people and the government, such as authoritative leaders in the past could have convinced their people to support them by announcing things or plans that they did not actually do, or like they could have said that they implemented such policies which they could have not actually done. Yes, and we think that the prisoners are actually the victims, and we see the prisoner who was able to escape as what we should get as the reality.
Maybe it's a reality, but maybe the reality is another cave, which maybe there's maybe more reality. Just layer up again and